Oh, and we got Mary Ellen.
Okay.
So at least the board, with the exception of Tracy, who's not here tonight, the board is now complete.
Quick question. Should we restart the meeting just as a point of order now that we have a full board attendance, or?
I don't think we need to say the Pledge of Allegiance again. That's all we've done, folks. We were just waiting because Brian was going to present.
Okay, so in my minutes, I reflect that we called the meeting to order at 6:03 and that Adam joined at 6:06 and Mary Ellen at 6:08.
Sure.
Okay.
Brian, do we need to wait for more of the administrators before we get to the Teacher of the Year and the Para of the Year?
Yes, please. I'm sending the link right now, Rich.
Okay, no problem. Once again, apologize to everybody. Actually, we've had pretty smooth sailing on these meetings all year long or the last several months. So it's unfortunate that this happened tonight when we had such a large group. Oh, I see Mrs. Eustace, so they must be, here we go. We're starting to get everybody now.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. I do see multiple administrators here. I'm assuming that everybody is now with us and we can get started. I apologize everybody for the technical glitch that set us on two different channels for whatever reason. All you've missed so far is the Pledge of Allegiance, and we waited for Brian to be able to make the announcement and still go forward talking about the Teacher of the Year and the Paraprofessional of the Year. So Brian, I'm going to turn this over to you at this point for the Teacher of the Year announcement.
Hi, Rich. I'm seeing Brian is muted right now.
He is, but I think he was looking for something. You're muted, Brian. There you go.
Please join me in congratulating Mary McFarland as our Teacher of the Year. Congratulations, Mary. We had the announcement this week. We had a Zoom meeting where Mary's mother joined us. It was absolutely fantastic. It was probably the highlight of the week. Mary's been a special education teacher at Mary Griswold for the year of 2021. She's also taught at Willard. She spent 16 of her 18 years teaching in Berlin Public Schools. Mary oversees the students needing alternative program called SNAP, which services the students from all three elementary schools who have significant emotional and behavioral needs. Mary's experiences with special needs children goes far back. As her own childhood, her parents were therapeutic foster parents who took in some of the most challenging children in the foster care system. In her philosophy of education, she states, "This opened my eyes to the impact that individuals can have on the lives of children that suffer from trauma. This experience planted the seeds that would lead me to do what I do every day." Mary, I can't be prouder to have you as a Berlin Teacher of the Year. You're a great example for all of us to follow. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to acknowledge the Paraprofessional of the Year. As you know, without all the paraprofessionals in the district, we couldn't do the job that we do every day. They are the unsung heroes that build relationships with students, that assist our students, that are there day in and day out. So we'd like to join in congratulating Kimberly Dunnigan from Berlin High School. As Berlin's Paraprofessional of the Year for 2001, Kim is an amazing asset to Berlin High School Functional Life Skills Program. Within the program, Kim promotes independence along with providing opportunities for students to build the skills needed to become lifelong learners. She continually coaches students through academic, vocational, and social situations to facilitate their ability to internalize learning. Kim is always willing to fulfill any responsibility needed for her within the classroom. She is often seen to be the thinking ahead of her ideas and her suggestions enhance the content, the life skills, and the vocational tasks throughout the programs. Kim has become a key facilitator in implementing individualized physical therapy, occupational therapy, sensory programs that are established to improve the students. She collaborates with the therapists to implement programs, collect data, and ensure students continue to make growth. Congratulations again, Kim. Mary and Kim will be honored at the dedication of excellence at the November Board of Education meetings. This is just an announcement. We'll have them at the board meeting. Hopefully we'll be in person and we'll get a chance to meet both. Congratulations to both of you.
Congratulations to Mary and Kim, very much heartfelt. And on a personal note, very briefly, when my son, who works with Mary, found out that she had gotten this honor, he said, this is just a tremendous honor and she's very well deserving. And so he was really happy for you, and so are we. Thank you very much, Mary and Kim. Congratulations from us. All right, our other special presentations. We're going to start off with Berlin High School recognition. I believe we're turning it over to Mrs. Eustace.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. So first, we would like to recognize our valedictorian and salutatorian. So our valedictorian this year is Audrey Feldman. Intelligent, driven, sweet, and empathetic are just a few of the many positive words that describe Audrey Feldman. Audrey challenges herself academically and gets involved in a multitude of activities, both in and out of school. Her hard work has earned her the distinction of valedictorian of her class. In her academics, Audrey has always maintained a rigorous program of her studies. Her work ethic and love of writing has helped make her successful in all of her courses. From advanced to honors to UConn to AP, Audrey has been able to manage them all and still help others within her classroom better understand the material. Audrey truly enjoys learning for the sake of learning. This drive has helped her gain a lot of recognition through awards, opportunities, and scholarships. Most notably, she was a Governor's Scholar. Not only does Audrey embrace and succeed in her academics, she is involved in a number of activities. Most markedly, Audrey has started her own SAT prep business, an entrepreneurship that has taken a lot of time and effort. She also works for Kumon, tutoring others. She attends a daily religious scholarships program before school, where she will have accumulated 720 hours by the time she graduates. Audrey is a member of DECA, competing on the state and international level, where she won first place. She is also the National Honor Society Vice President and was the secretary of her class. She attended the High School Reimagine Leadership Conference, where she learned how to impact change in the public school system. Audrey will be attending the University of Notre Dame in the fall, pursuing a business degree. Congratulations, Audrey. Next, our salutatorian is Matthew Uriga. Matthew does not settle for mediocrity. He strives for excellence. In fact, Matthew has taken several of the most challenging courses available to him, and he has met with great success, earning the honor of salutatorian of his class. There is more to Matthew than just his academic prowess. Matthew is equally as invested outside of the classroom. He is an integral member of various clubs, such as the BHS chapter of the National Honor Society, the Upbeat Peer Leadership Program, the Programming Coding Club, of which he is a co-founder, the Ethics and Applications of Science Club, and social, where he is also a co-founder and social chair, the Philosophy Club, and the Math Tutoring Club. Matthew is a youth ambassador for the Chris Labadia Memorial Foundation. As a member of the school band, Matthew is one of 2 drum majors leading his peers during band rehearsals and drill practice. Matthew is a great role model who makes positive choices. His dedication and continuous involvement with community-wide and school-based organizations speaks to his compassion he has for others, and the leadership roles he has embraced are indicative of his ability to drive positive change. Next year, Matthew will be attending Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute to study computer science. Congratulations, Matthew. Next, we have our CAS Scholar Athletes, also recognizing Audrey and Matthew Uriga. The Scholar Athlete Program annually recognizes 2 high school seniors from each member high school whose academic and athletic careers have been exemplary, whose personal standards and achievements are a model to others, and who possess high levels of integrity, self-discipline, and courage. In addition to what you just heard about Audrey and Matt, the valedictorian and salutatorian of the class of 2020, they are also both this year's Scholar Athlete honorees. Audrey is an athletic young lady who has been a member of the tennis, track, and cross-country teams, winning many awards along the way. As a student athlete, Matthew has been a vital member of the BHS men's varsity swim team, swimming at states each year, representing his team at the state finals sophomore and junior year, and leading his team as they won the CCC South Conference Championship. Congratulations, Audrey and Matt, again. Next, we have our CAS Arts Award. The CAS Arts Awards annually honor 2 outstanding seniors from each member school who excel in the performing or visual arts. While excelling in the performing or visual arts is of primary importance, scholarship and leadership are also supporting criteria. In performing arts, we honor Dawson Trotman. In his time at Berlin High School, Dawson Trotman has distinguished himself as a dedicated, creative, resilient, compassionate, and hardworking young man. Dawson's incredible vocal and instrumental talents have afforded him great opportunities both within the BHS musical program and out. His talents have also garnered him various accolades and awards. To explain in writing the level of musical talent Dawson possesses would be an insurmountable task. He is an unimaginably gifted young man. It should come as no surprise that Dawson is also an incredibly gifted actor, achieving lead roles in various school plays and musicals. Academically, Dawson has excelled in a rigorous academic program throughout his high school tenure. He has maintained an impressive performance while taking some of the most challenging courses, and if he could fit more into his schedule, he would have. Dawson is a great role model who makes positive choices. His dedication and continuous involvement with community-wide and school-based organizations speaks to his compassion he has for others, and the leadership roles he has embraced while serving his community are indicative of his ability to drive positive change and results as well. Congratulations, Dawson. In visual arts, we honor Nathaniel Hansen. Nathaniel Hansen is a strong, intelligent, and talented young man who, despite challenges related to his health, has remained positive and persevered. Nathaniel works hard in school and remains engaged in all of his extracurricular activities. Academically, Nathaniel has taken on a strong college preparatory program. He has put in hard work to be successful. Nathaniel pushes through, asks questions, and gets involved in discussions within the classroom. When he was out due to his health in his sophomore year, he didn't miss a beat, and the same goes for this year as well. Nathaniel has also allowed himself time in his schedule to expand upon his interests, music and art, even taking AP drawing this year and doing very well. He loves comic art and has a beautiful pen and ink cross-hatching technique that will serve him well next year at Keene State for art. His easygoingness makes him a pleasure to have in class, and his positive energy is contagious. He is a member of the marching and concert bands and is in the drama club. Further, he does even more community service in Upbeat, where he is now a house leader. Nathaniel will no doubt be involved both in the campus life and the surrounding community when he attends Keene State University in the fall to major in art and minor in technical theater. Congratulations, Nathaniel. Next, we have All-State Chorus and All-State Band. The Connecticut Music Educators Association offers opportunities for students to participate in all-state festival ensembles. Students who have successfully completed participation in their high school region festival are eligible to audition for All-State during the same school year, and if selected, will create music alongside the finest high school musicians in the state under the direction of regionally and nationally celebrated conductors. This year, the following students were selected. For All-State Chorus, we have Tori Kescone, M. Roach, and Dawson Trotman. For All-State Band, we have Clemens Henning and Brendan Malcarney. Congratulations. In addition, we would like to recognize that the National Association for Music Educators All National Honors Ensemble Award represents the top performing high school musicians in the United States. This year, we have 2 students who were recognized for this prestigious honor, Dawson Trotman and Clemens Henning. Congratulations. So next, I believe I'm turning it back to Mr. Arroyan for the McCabe Student Leadership Awards.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to all the kids so far, the students so far that have been recognized. And we're going to now move to the McCabe Student Leadership Awards. McCabe stands for the Connecticut Association of Boards of Education. The McCabe Student Leadership Awards program is designed to honor Connecticut high school and middle school students who exhibit exemplary leadership skills. and 2 students from each member school are eligible. So we have 2 from Berlin High School and 2 from McGee. So from Berlin High School, we're recognizing Julia Kokoza. Julia Kokoza, who prefers to go by the nickname Jay, is an enthusiastic learner who is constantly pushing herself to be better. While taking several of the most challenging courses offered at Berlin High School, Jay has maintained an impressive level of high performance. Jay's success in these courses does not go unnoticed. During her junior year, she was honored as a National Merit Commended Scholar, and in her senior year, she was inducted into the National Honor Society. Jay has also demonstrated incredible leadership outside the classroom. Jay is an active member of the Interact Club, for which she is the co-president, and she was also awarded an invitation to attend the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards Conference. In addition, Jay is the vice president of retail for the DECA Business Club, and she's the president of the Sustainability Club. She's also a member of the Upbeat Peer Leadership Program and Habitat for Humanity Club. Jay has reached these heights independently through hard work, self-advocacy, and navigation through her high school experiences. This is what makes her achievements so extraordinary. Jay will be attending UConn in the fall of 2020 with a major in environmental engineering. Congratulations, Jay. Our second student from Berlin High School to be recognized is Ryan Hunt. Ryan Hunt is a hardworking, determined, and athletic young man with a great work ethic. He holds himself to a high standard, which has served him well as he has excelled in his courses at BHS. These qualities will be an asset to him as he sets off to UConn, where he'll study biomedical engineering through the honors program of the School of Engineering. Throughout his high school career, Ryan has pushed himself academically, especially in math and science, and he has taken the highest level of coursework we offer in these areas. He is a well-rounded student who excels in each class he takes, which has earned him an induction into BHS's chapter of the National Honor Society, and his high PSAT scores led to a National Merit Scholarship commendation. On top of succeeding academically, Ryan is an amazing swimmer for our school team, and he also coaches young children in swimming. Ryan has pushed himself to improve throughout high school, which has led him to being a school record holder, Class M state finalist, and to earn all academic honors. In addition to swimming, Ryan is a member of the marching and concert bands and has been able to start up and be the president of a new club, Ethics and Applications of Science, and be a member of Upbeat, where he assists the McGee students after school in the evenings with homework. Further, Ryan tutors many BHS students in math, helping them gain the skills they need for success. Ryan has the ability to make others feel comfortable and to be able to take in the information needed to assist others in many different areas. Ryan will be a great asset to the UConn campus, both in and out of the classroom. He'll foster a collaborative, focused, and helpful culture within the honors dorm and in the classroom. He will certainly find success in college and beyond. Congratulations, Ryan. Oh my gosh, you two, Julia and Ryan, are so unbelievably busy. I can't imagine what college is going to hold in store for you. From McGee, Angela Gross. Angela Gross is an undoubted leader in the school setting. She is naturally inquisitive and dedicated worker and is always ready for the next challenge, usually shaping her own learning beyond teacher expectations. What makes Angela quite unique is her ability to bring others along with her. She seems to read and understand other students' needs intuitively and meets these students where they are at as she helps to work, coach, teach, and care for her peers. She makes full commitments to education, improving the learning atmosphere, and to understanding different points of view. Angela is a leader today and will certainly be one for years to come. We are beyond privileged to have her as a student in the Berlin Public Schools. Congratulations, Angela. Our second student from McGee is Nicholas Manzi. In the words of one of Nick's music teachers, Mrs. Trulecki, to know Nick is a gift. This statement could not be more true. When in Nick's presence, there's a takeaway for all. A sense of joy gained from his smile, an inheritance of great insight from a deep thought of his, or an inspiration to seek change motivated by his sense of determination. Without a doubt, Nick exhibits all characteristics of what being a leader entails. His commitment to learning is reflected in his honorable academic standing. With self-development in mind, Nick embraces all challenges and with that works to exceed expectations. Nick's kindness to others is gentle yet impactful. His words and actions provide a sense of unwavering support, understanding, and empathy to those that surround him. Nick's passion to further his learning as a way to better himself, whether it be musically, academically, or personally, serves as an inspiration for all to explore and discover their true potential. Congratulations, Nick. Now, I think I'm turning this back over to Mrs. Eustace, talk about the class officers, I believe.
I believe so. So we would actually like to recognize a number of students who held leadership positions in our school this year. So first, we would just like to start with our class of 2020 officers. Thank you very much to President Dan Lynch, Vice Presidents Jake Holmes and Jenna Smalley, Secretary Maria Bertrimus, Treasurer Haley Nardelli, Social Chair Anna Sarazin. For student government, our officers this year have been President Emily Rutledge, Vice President Michaela Gorski, Secretary Gina Scalaro, Media Secretary Emma Roski, and Treasurer Alex Milozewski. And for National Honor Society, our officers this year have been President Jenna Smalley, Vice President Audrey Feldman, Secretary Abby Rochette, and Treasurer Adam Kaiser. So thank you so much, everybody, for your service this year. We very much appreciate your leadership.
Okay, Mrs. Eustace, thank you. I think we're back to me now for a little bit. We're playing ping pong with these. Last but not least in our recognitions of students tonight are our two Board of Education student representatives. The board would like to recognize and thank Jenna Smalley and Ryan McGowan for their enthusiasm, insightful reports, and intuitiveness provided to the Board of Education for the school year. We want to wish Jenna good luck going off into the future. Mrs. Eustace, I'm actually curious, do we know who's going to have to fill Jenna's shoes next year, or did this distance learning kind of knock us off a little bit off our path?
I believe the elections, I'm not sure if they were held today or if they're definitely being held this week. So we will find out shortly, but we are on track.
Excellent job. And Jenna and Ryan, it's been a privilege working with you, Ryan. I can't wait to work with you again next year and with the rest of the board as well. And Jenna, we wish you the best of luck. Congratulations to both of you and thank you. Now we've reached the recognition of retirees, and I'm going to turn this over to the building principals. So back to Mrs. Eustace again.
Thank you again. So first we are going to start with Mr. John Line. John Line has been teaching social studies at Berlin High School since 1994. What struck me most about John when I first met him was his incredible kindness. I will miss our impromptu chats in the hallway. He is one of those teachers that just gets it. What I mean by that is he recognizes every student's individual circumstances and always finds a way to support them. His students respect and trust him for that. Since we have been out, several students and parents randomly reached out to me to tell me how much they appreciate John. He is my favorite teacher, or he has been my child's lifeline. I know comments like these humble and embarrass John, but it is so important for him to know how beloved he is by his students, colleagues, and the community. John describes his proudest accomplishment as having students value his class, seeing the relevance and the role they need to play in government or what can be learned in films about history and society. When he took on the AP US Government and Politics class, it was one section. It is now 3 overflowing sections. In addition, John has been our boys golf coach for many, many years and impacted his players with not just skill development, but life lessons. He describes the golf course as his happy place. So thankfully, it is one place that remained open during the pandemic. In retirement, John and his wife hope to clean out their big house, travel, play golf, spend time in Maine with family, including his children, James and Keenan, and perhaps spend some time writing. I hope to read your work, John. I could use a lot of advice right now. I look forward to having you visit in the fall so you can see your colleagues and students. John, enjoy your retirement, and thank you for being such a bedrock for Berlin High School. We are going to miss you. Next, we have Mary Pacyna. Mary, wow, 30 years is a long time. Thank you for your service and dedication to Berlin High School. You have taken great care of our students, teachers, school counselors, adult learners, families, and other community members with your steady presence and willingness to help always. Mary serves as the administrative assistant in our school counseling office and also for adult ed. Not only does she take care of everyone and everything in that space, She also has the distinct pleasure of serving as gatekeeper and lunch monitor from her workstation in the school counseling suite. She has created a safe space for students that frequently do not feel comfortable during the course of the day. She wipes away tears, calms upset parents and students, celebrates successes, and always helps those in need. She often serves as counselor for her school counselors, having taken incredible care of them for so many years. Through the many changes that have occurred over the years, Mary has been the mainstay, the keeper of history, organizer of scholarships and awards, scheduler for colleges, most importantly, friend and trusted colleague for many. Mary has been a strong advocate and leader for Berlin Helping Berlin, an organization that has helped countless students and families connected to Berlin. Mary, we will miss your smile, your willingness to always help out, your knowledge of all things Berlin High School and school counseling, and your laughter. I am relieved you are so close because I suspect we'll be calling for help. What would Mary do will be heard quite frequently next year. Enjoy your time with your family, endless date nights, music, time with your fur babies, and heading to your happy places like the beach. Congratulations, Mary. We truly thank you for all you have done for our school. We will miss you. Next, we have Marie Siegal. My first encounter with Marie Siegal was at the Board of Ed meeting where I was appointed principal. I had heard rumor that she might be retiring, and I was already panicked. Who would teach me about all the funding at Berlin High School? Not only was I so fortunate that she stayed so I could learn the books, but she taught me so much more. Like Mary, Marie has over 30 years of service, all but one at Berlin High School. Many years as a special education paraprofessional, coach, and bookkeeper. Marie always went far beyond the scope of her job description. She helped with everything and continues to be a champion for our students with special needs. Her work with George Sinnott for Unified Sports is unparalleled and continues to serve as a model for other districts across the state. Marie is a firm believer that while it is a special experience for our identified students, it has had an incredible and even greater impact on our students that serve as partners. An incredible legacy she has left for our students. Marie, I know our time together was short, but I thank you for teaching me the books, the history of Berlin High School, and also about some very special people like George Sinnott and Jim Day. You always served with a smile, even when people would come at the last second for a check, a cash box, a wristband, or an order to be placed. Your response would always be, no problem. We miss you already and hope that you will be able to enjoy your time out of the pandemic eventually with your husband, Jerry, your sons, and your beautiful grandchildren. Congratulations, Marie. Next, we have Eileen Thurston. Eileen, where do we start? I remember my first meeting with you. You radiated as you spoke of your 5 children and then also explained that you are mom to everyone else in the building as well. Thank you for 20 years of teaching, coaching, and department leadership. You held your students, athletes, and teachers steady, gave them a shoulder to cry on, championed their triumphs, and picked them up when they made mistakes. I could count on your steadfast ways in helping your teachers get better or have the come to Jesus meetings with a student. You could do that because you knew all your people through and through. Your advice was right on because it always came straight from your heart. Just getting a little feedback there. I know these last 2 years have been very difficult. I would be remiss if I did not mention your incredibly special relationship with Rex Smith. I know you were planning to retire together. I'm sure he is sitting on your shoulder cheering for you right now. He would have loved the advice you gave last week to our teachers about getting involved because teaching is so much more than just being in the classroom. You have been a model for others in your work with your department as a coach, a mentor, a permanent fixture at the concession stand, a class advisor, and an integral part of Upbeat. We are so fortunate that you will be continuing to work continuing to coach and work with Upbeat. In these 2 short years that I've known you, I don't think there was ever a month that went by when you weren't planning for some sort of big family party, wedding, or baby. While I am sad that you will not be at BHS every day, all day, I am thrilled for you to spend time with your beloved family, your husband, Tim, your 5 children, and your grandbabies. All right, so I'm going to give this a shot, a little lesson from the math department. It is time to catch up on must-needed sleep so that you may relish time with your family. It's a little concession stand humor, I guess. So, you are forever a redcoat, Eileen, and a part of our community. Congratulations. We wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. I'm going to turn it over now to Mr. Urso, I believe.
Yes, thank you, Rich. Congratulations to all of the retirees. We have 2 at McGee this year. Unfortunately, neither of them were able to make it. Susan McCabe's dad passed away, so she is with her family. And Janice Carpenter, when I left school, was still at school, so she's dedicated and working from school. So I'm going to start with Janice Carpenter first. It's certainly been a privilege to work alongside of Janice Carpenter, who was hired to teach science during the 2006-07 year. She came to us after serving many years as a medical tech. Janice has worked with agility. She's certified in, and get this, elementary ed, K-6, health ed, biology and general science, 7-12, and middle school math, 4-8. So Janice is certified K through 12 in many different areas. She's a master teacher, has a unique ability to develop engaging project-based work and create an environment in which students work at a varied pace in small groups and independently. When you go into Janice's classroom, there's never just one activity or experience going on in her classroom. More recently, 3 years ago, Janice was asked to step out of her comfort zone to help begin a STEAM program for which there was a bit of a loose blueprint, although we did have support through professional development, but this was a brand new course for us as we changed from tech ed to STEAM. We asked her to do that job because we had confidence in her ability to collaborate with members at the school. And also what's unique about Janice is she has 2 children who happen to be certified in technology education in the state. I am happy to report that the program has come a long way. Students are reporting that the class is one of their favorites. We're grateful for the mark that Janice has left on the program, her students, our school community, and she will be sorely missed. Thank you for your 14 years of service at McGee, Janice. Susan McCabe. Susie was hired as back in the day, it was called Integrated Language Arts in 1994, after serving many areas in the school as a permanent substitute. She actually did a stint as a school counselor at one point. She has a very matter-of-fact way about the business in her classroom. She treats students with a level of trust that they can be effective problem solvers, advocates for learning, and independent. Her pre-K to 8 certification has been put to good use as she has taught ELA, history, and most recently, media research literacy. She served in the roles as team and department leader. She was a longtime Washington, D.C. trip coordinator. And as I mentioned earlier, unfortunately, she lost her dad. We send her condolences and hope that she has lots of time to spend with her mother and her family in retirement. And we thank Susie for 26 years in the district.
Thank you very much, Mr. Urso. We have a couple of retirees from Willard. Turn it over to Mrs. Sirois. Oh, you're muted still, Megan.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Good evening, everyone, and congratulations to all the award recipients and retirees. Dolores Chowaniec has served as the secretary at Willard School for the past 14 years. We all know that this role is truly vital to the success of the daily operations within the school, and we were incredibly fortunate to have Dolores leading the charge in the front office for so many years. Dolores always took great pride in her work to ensure that each task was completed to the highest level of quality. She worked to support all members of our school community, staff, students, and parents. Her sense of humor always kept us on our toes. Dolores, you will certainly be missed, but please know you will not be forgotten. Thank you and congratulations on your years of service at Willard School. We wish you all the best in your retirement. I'm now going to turn it over to Linda Holian, who will speak on behalf of Sharon Corriveau.
Thank you. This is Linda Holian, Director of Special Ed in Berlin. Sharon Corriveau has worked with the Berlin Public Schools for the past 14 years as a paraprofessional. Sharon actually began her career working alongside Marty Bauman and Maggie Seaver and the staff and students at Hubbard Elementary School. Both Marty and Maggie described Sharon as a warm, gentle, and nurturing person. She was positive yet firm in her approach while working with kids, and Sharon always held students to her high expectations. Sharon spent the majority of her time working at Willard in our preschool program. She worked alongside Paulo O'Rourke and Lindsay Sabah, and they both described her as an essential member of the preschool team. Sharon consistently followed teacher instructions and understood the importance of collaboration and communication with members of her team. This is a theme that you're going to hear throughout all her evaluations from her teachers. Sharon, a few years ago, I think wanted a break from preschool. You know, it's hard getting up and down off the floor and chasing those little ones around. So we asked her if she wanted to stay at Willard and work with our students in K-5. So the past few years, she worked alongside Cheryl Volz, who's a special ed teacher at Willard. And Cheryl shared the same attributes, that she's a tremendous asset to the Learning Center. She cares deeply about the kids she works with. She does what it takes to make students successful. She's firm, yet holds high expectations. She's nurturing. We were lucky to have Sharon as a member of our team in our district for the past 14 years. Sharon, congratulations to you. We wish you the best in your retirement. And Sharon left us a few months ago, so she's already been enjoying retirement, and you're already missed by all of us.
So I want to congratulate all of the students here who were recognized for their accomplishments in this school year. And I want to thank and also congratulate the teachers and staff members who are leaving us. I wish you the best. We all do. And thank you for all of your years of service to the Berlin School District. Thank you very much. At this point in our meeting, normally we would take a break for cookies and a little mingling, but it's not really possible to mingle at this point. And we are now going to continue on with the regularly scheduled portion of the meeting. So if anybody would like to stay, you are more than welcome to stay, but we're going to move forward in a moment to our committee reports and correspondence, etc. Oh, and they start clicking off almost immediately. We'll give you a minute, find your way out, find your way. Thank you very much, everybody. All right, I'm going to start the next section. We're going to go to our reports from our student representatives. Ryan and Jenna, what do you got for us? School winding down for you.
Hi, we have nothing really specific to report. Sorry about that, but I want to thank you guys for the last 2 years because I had lots of fun reporting and seeing you guys each week. So
thank you very much, Jenna. You were a great addition to the team. Thank you. Ryan, nothing? You got anything for us?
Yeah, I just agree with Jenna that I'm really grateful for being in this position and having these experiences, and it's been really beneficial to me as a person and as a student and all that. So thank you for that.
Thank you. You're the leader now. You're the senior member of the team now coming up next year. You'll have to train the young one coming up behind you. Thank you both very much for the year. Very much appreciated. We'll go to our committee reports. The Community Relations Committee, Julia, I believe there was a meeting, was there not?
Yep. Hello, Julie Dennis, board member. On Monday, June 1st, we had a meeting where Brian, Tracy, Mary Ellen, and I attended and just discussed next steps in communication and how we're going to maintain and build community relations over the summer, especially as things are changing with distance learning and transitioning back to school, and how we're going to communicate as a committee. And so we basically came up with a list of topics we want to talk about and put out in the Citizen over the course of the summer. I've reached out to Rich regarding our June 29th meeting, and I want to share this with the group. So at this time, our committee is further exploring the idea of making an additional social media page where we turn off commenting, a Facebook page where we can put out the links to our meetings, link up our citizen column, so on and so forth, just to engage the community at a higher level. So our committee will be doing some work from now until June 29th to prepare for that meeting. And then we're going to share out with you all where we are and have a greater discussion. So I wanted to put this out there now. So if you want to start thinking about what this social media would look like, where you stand with it, with turning comments off, as just another platform to get out information. If any of the board members want to have further conversations with me and share your 2 cents prior to, please reach out. Don't hesitate. And we're going to be having another meeting prior to the June 29th board meeting. So I can also make sure you are all aware of when that meeting is going to be, so you guys can get involved and participate if need be. But, just really as a committee, we are trying to fulfill our goal of engaging the community the best way we can. And, we don't always have all the answers. So, certainly reach out if you have anything. And that's what's to come at our June 29th meeting. It will be on the agenda.
Thank you very much, Julie. I do think it's a topic that we need to explore, and I'm glad that the committee is exploring it. Carrie Sasso, I believe we had a curriculum meeting about some very important topics.
We did. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. The curriculum committee met on Friday afternoon. Brian Benigni, Erin McGurk, Linda Holian, and members of the curriculum committee discussed some of the steps that have been taken to prepare for summer school this summer. Actually, next month, I guess, is when it's starting. And the steps that have been undertaken with respect to ensure compliance with the guidelines issued by the state of Connecticut. So a district committee has been formed and is meeting regularly, I believe it's weekly, to address changes and the necessary steps to ensure that there is a sufficient amount of PPE, personal protective equipment, for those who are going to be in summer school. Also, this committee discussed issues related to the possibility of distance learning in the fall, or for those who not knowing exactly whether we will be returning to all of our school buildings come the beginning of the school year, or what that will look like. This is a moving target, and the committee formed within the district of administrators and others continues to monitor the changes and will make decisions as additional information is presented. So that's where we stand.
Thank you very much. Mr. Tenza, Matt, the chairman of the F&O, the Finance and Operations Committee.
Yes, this is Matt Tenza, Board of Education member. On June 3rd, the F&O Committee, Finance and Operations Committee, met at length to discuss numerous topics, some of which we will be taking action on tonight. But overall, what I want to report is that the transportation agreement with New Britain Transportation is complete. Mr. Kugno is going to talk about that later, and then we will need to take action on the amendment to the contract. But we also had a lengthy conversation about what the end of the year is going to look like. And while we still have 22 days left in this school year, we're trying to get a handle on how much we're going to be able to return to the town, because as a board, we felt that was important. And I believe that we are in a position that we will still stay with that $350,000 or more return to the town. We've identified a couple of large projects to put into the 2% rollover account. And then we had a conversation about what additional spending would happen between now and the end of the year, whether it should come out of the operational budget, should it come out of the choice budget, and what the general consensus is we're using as much of the operational budget as possible while still returning funds to the town and leaving the choice dollars in place, because we really do not know how much it's going to cost us to teach our students virtually in the future. We don't know what state requirements are going to be there. We don't know what additional equipment we're going to have to buy. So there's a lot of questions. And I mean, just consider the concept of transportation. How do you social distance on buses? If the bus is full, now do we run 2 buses? If you have to run 2 buses, it's twice as much just in the transportation line alone. So significant concern about next year's budget and how it looks, and we need to leave some space there. So without going into everything, that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you very much. And I know that we mentioned a little bit that we are planning on adding an additional board meeting. I believe June 29th was the date that we had chosen. And the finances is the prime reason behind that, is that we want to make sure that we have our absolute final numbers from this year that we can present publicly at that point and make some decisions about where we are moving forward. So it's a very complicated situation and very fluid. So I think the work, actually all 3 of the committees are doing incredibly important work right now, whether we're looking at summer school, the way we're presenting information in class in a distance learning or a hybrid model, whether we're talking about the money or communicating with the public. All these things are incredibly important. So thank you to all of you. We're going to skip over the correct report tonight. Tracy is our correct representative, and she's not with us tonight. We'll pick it up next time. Correspondence to the board. Mr. Benigni, was there anything?
Brian checked out with everybody else.
There you go. Sorry. We have no correspondence to the board at this time.
All right. So that takes us to the audience of citizens. We do have a letter that I'm going to read to you in a moment. Before we do that, we had a different type of audience of citizens. Yesterday, I attended the Black Lives Matter rally downtown along with my wife, and I was very impressed at the organizational structure. The speeches were very inspirational. Saw a lot of staff members there, saw a lot of students, of current and past students as well, alumni as well. There was a good crowd. I'm not very good at estimating, but I would guess somewhere between 400 and 500 would be a fair guess. I thought it was very well done, very tasteful, and also inspirational. We also have had a handful of emails that have been sent to us regarding some of the similar type measures. And before we talk about where we're going next as a district, I do want to say that one word continued to show in the emails over and over again, and that was the word demand. To me, I don't think it's an appropriate terminology in this case, because I think a demand is something that you bring along with an unwilling participant. You make a demand of somebody if they're unwilling to do what you want. I don't see us in that light at all, actually. I see us as a very willing partner with the students, the staff, the parents, the community as a whole, in dealing with some very difficult issues. And as a result of that, we've been working on some of these things for years. Some of the information that was presented in the emails or mentioned publicly, we've already dealt with, as a matter of fact. So I think that it's unfair to say that we haven't dealt with much. We have been making moves, there's no question. And as such, to continue the movement going forward, as Brian said in his, what I thought was a very well-written letter that came out yesterday, we're going to continue to take a mirror and also, I believe it was a telescope, a mirror and a telescope, looking at ourselves in the mirror. What can we do better? What have we done well, and how do we go forward? And the telescope of where do we go in the future? What are our options? And in order to do that, the board has charged Brian to create a community-based committee, if you will, around the concepts of inclusion and equity. And I'll turn it over to Brian, but this is something that will be starting up in the fall, I would imagine. You're muted, Brian.
Thank you very much, Brian Benigni, Superintendent. Thank you very much. The telescope, looking into the future. I've spoken to Dr. McGurk, our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction. We'll start very shortly looking at our curriculum as we do every year. We'll be taking a look at our K-12 curriculum and looking through that as we've already started to look at our text We'll take a deeper look at the social studies curriculum K-12, as well as the readings that are taking place throughout, and what other projects and things that they've been mentioned by a number of students, to see where they fit in the curriculum, if they still exist, and the projects that we have that are meeting the needs of the students and the diversity and the social competence.
Thank you. So there'll be more information coming in the next school year when we're able to actually get together face to face and have conversations again. These kind of conversations really do need to happen face to face. Having them in this format is very difficult to move forward. All right. So the audience of citizens, the letter. So I have a letter to read that was written by James Fallon. Jimmy Fallon wrote us a letter. I don't have Jim's address, unfortunately. He wrote, "Thank you for all the communication over the last several months, and I apologize if this has been discussed before, but when does Berlin anticipate having a defined plan for the reopening of schools so that parents and students will have some measure of certainty? Although distance learning has been a good temporary measure, it isn't a sustained solution, and students at all levels aren't getting the necessary level of instruction. I'm not an educational professional, but intuitively, attendance in school at least 75 to 80% of the time seems like a minimum." So, Mr. Benigni, I know that we've talked about this a little bit and we don't have definitive answers, but his real question is, when might we have an answer?
So we are waiting to get further instructions from the state, but in the meantime, we've started a committee. We're working with the Center for School Change, as well as a larger committee within the district to look at the reopening of the district. And so we're looking at various aspects. There will be a survey that's coming home to parents, students soon, which will give us greater insight. We're really looking at what we can do in a flexible manner to meet whatever needs are upon us at the time, not knowing whether we're going to be back. And we know if we're back, we're not in the back in the same way that we were. But if we are back, given certain parameters, what do we need to meet the learning needs of students? So I wish I could give a definitive answer. I think that the phase 2 guidelines that will happen on June 20th, we're waiting to hear from the state a little further. In the meantime, we're also looking at summer school. So as we're planning for summer school, we're looking at how does that plan with transportation, the social distancing, how does that plan relate to it if we're coming back to school and the manner that we're coming back to school. So I wish I could say to people that, this is the plan moving forward. I think we're looking at what we can do that gives us the greatest number of options. One option that's out there that's heard that the state is going to say across the state that none of the schools will go back. Another one has a modification for the high school for virtual learning, and the elementary schools going back, and the middle school it's not decided. So there's so much different information that's coming out from the state right now that we really need to keep Berlin looking at whatever the plan is, that we can meet the needs given whatever restrictions the state puts upon us to deliver the best education possible. So if it's virtual education, it's better than where we are today. I agree in the short term. I'd like to say we made it to phase 3 of distance learning. We have to get to phase 4. But I think that people can expect to have greater amount of information come the end of the month, the beginning of July. The rumor is that the governor is looking to give guidelines at the end of the month. That being said, as soon as we have those guidelines, as I said, we have the committee structures in place. We're already talking about things. And as soon as we know, we will share with the community. And there's also community members on the current team that we have. So I, as much as you, would like a definitive plan and to know where we'll be. What I can say is that whatever the plan may be, we will do our best to provide optimum education to your students, given whatever constraints are upon us.
Thank you very much. I think it was the last meeting, I kind of put you and Dr. McGurk on the spot by asking, what kind of a time frame would you need? And if we can get the information by I think the answer was, hopefully we'll know definitively by the middle of July at the absolute latest, and that will allow us to plan. So I'm hoping that we can present something perhaps in our July. We have one board meeting in July that will have a little bit more information to be able to share at that point in any case, at least the direction that we're looking. Our next up on the agenda. It is with great pleasure We know that there's an assistant principal job open at Berlin High School, but it is open no longer. It is a great pleasure. The board has unanimously earlier today endorsed Katie Amenta as the new assistant principal at Berlin High School. Katie's been with us, I believe she said 14 years. 14 years. I want to welcome you and excited to have you join our administrative team. So welcome, Katie.
Thank you. Thank you, Rich.
Katie, this is a chance for you to share a few words if you like, Katie.
Okay. I just want to say, first of all, thank you to the board. Thank you to the administrative team. I'm humbled and honored to join this administrative staff. Berlin High School, as you mentioned, has been my professional home for nearly 14 years, where I've served in a wide variety of different leadership roles beyond just a classroom teacher. I've coached, I've done committee work, professional development, joined in on district-wide committees. And so my vision and everything everything good in Berlin High School that's sort of there is where this drive for leadership comes from. The students, the staff, and the community at large is phenomenal, and I'm eager and excited to be part of this transition back to school, thinking positively, especially after such an unprecedented time. So again, I thank you. I'm excited to get to work, and thanks again.
Thank you very much, Katie. Brian, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I think it's important to note that Katie went through a full process. She had her 4th interview tonight with the board. She first met with the interview team at the high school. We also had external candidates from that team at the high school. She then had a meeting with Principal Eustace and Assistant Principal Ventura. From there, she met and interviewed with the entire administrative council, and then a conversation with Dr. McGurk and myself, and then the Board of Education tonight. So I want to congratulate you, Katie.
Thank you.
I think it'll be fantastic. I won't say how old I am because I had you as a student when I first came to Berlin, but we really look forward to having you. As I said to the board tonight, you bring a sense of integrity that is unmeasurable, and I really look forward to all you can do for our students in a leadership position. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Brian, I just want to make sure we're doing this correctly. We don't need to have a motion specifically on this issue, do we? Or do we?
No.
No. That's what I thought. I just wanted to be sure. All right. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Katie. We look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you.
Next up is the consent agenda. Do we have any additions or deletions from the consent agenda? No? Do I have a motion then, please?
This is Eileen, a board member. I'll move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Carrie Sassu, second.
Carrie seconds. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous, 8-0. Then again, Tracy's absent for this evening. All right, next up on the agenda, we have new business. The summer instructional program. I believe we have Linda and Michelle and Cindy Martin to talk to us a little bit about what lies ahead in summer.
Sure. This is Linda Holian, Director of Pupil Personnel Services. So we decided as a district to run an in-person extended school year program. So what is that going to look like? What we know today, we're still trying to iron things out as we haven't heard from all the parents yet. And again, we're still trying to put a lot of these safety measures in place. But we're still running our 4-week program, which typically runs Tuesdays through Thursdays, 3 hours a day. That will begin July 7th and run till July 30th. And then simultaneously, we run our 5-week program for our special ed students who need a more intensive ESY program. That runs 5 days a week, 4 hours a day. And that will go July 6th to August 7th. In addition, ESS runs their summer school program as well. So they do group services with our students. And typically they are at the high school, but because of everything that we have to put together with safety measures, ESS will be at McGee with our secondary population. And we also talked with Patty Pyrus today, who will be running the credit recovery program for a handful of students. They will also be at McGee. So we will only be using Willard and McGee, so we can make sure that all our policies and procedures that we have to put in place are consistent with the governor's reopen for ESY programs. As of today, we have about 90 students that will be attending our in-person summer school program. We had about 37 families that opted out for various reasons. Some medical, some they just didn't feel safe yet sending their students to school. The masks happen to be a big thing right now, which will be challenging for some of our students to wear masks, but we'll get through that with them. And we're still waiting to hear back from 20 families. So we're hoping to get all of that information back by Friday, Monday at the latest, because we really have to start working on transportation. We have to start working on hiring staff. What Sue McNally did share with me today, that about 50% of our students will be taking transportation. So the other 50% the parents have, and we asked all the parents because part of the guidelines said that it would be best if parents could transport, but of course, if they can't, that we will provide transportation. So it's about 50-50. I know Matt talked about transportation a little bit. The guidelines right now say that we can have 13 students on a bus. They have to sit diagonally. We do have to have a bus monitor on the bus. The 13 students on a bus is typical for us anyways. That's probably the max we ever had. Where our expense is going to go up is on the vans, because typically we would have our highest number would be 6 kids on a van. We're only going to be able to get 2 kids on a van in order to practice that social distancing. Of course, unless if they're siblings, we could put more kids on the van if they have siblings. As Rich and Carrie shared, we are working closely. Brian, myself, John Schmaltz is our liaison. Ash Zaitoon is our head custodian, so he's been part of this committee. And then Wendy from the VNA Nursing we shot some questions to her today. I've also picked up the phone and called Charles at the Department of Health. So we're trying to follow all of the guidelines in Governor Ned Lamont's reopening, and I think we're in a good point right now. Just some highlights of what's coming out of that all staff and students are required to wear masks. But like I said, our preschool kids aren't going to wear masks. I think it'll be hard for our little 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds to keep a mask on for 3 hours a day. But what we'll do is we'll make sure we have extra adults with them. Those extra adults will wear the shields to protect them and to protect the students. We have to practice that social distancing. So for special ed, the recommendation is no more than 8 total people in a classroom. If you can spread the desks out with that 6 feet of social distancing. So for our preschool and our blast kids who have a lot of one-to-one support, our two blast classrooms are probably going to turn into 4 classrooms. And same with our preschool classrooms. We're just going to have more classrooms because we're going to have more adults with our kids. The bathroom procedures are very well defined. So again, we've been working with Ash about proper hygiene to do. One of the expenses too that we may have to look at is all the students have to have their own materials. There can't be any sharing of student materials. So we're looking at that as well. We also have to take the temperatures of our staff and students every day. We have to keep track of that. Today, Brian and us and our team talked about, as well as possibly getting all of our staff tested prior to starting summer school. So I know Denise and Wendy are looking into that for us. And we also have to put together, they say a training video or in-person training. I think we're going to do in-person training for everybody. So staff about what's proper hygiene, what's the social distancing, and then it's going to have to vary according to our student population. So those are just some of the highlights that we're working on right now until we can get summer school up and running.
Linda, if I could just add that everything that Linda spoke about this evening will be in our manual, our Berlin Public Schools Summer School Manual. So all these protocols and procedures that she spoke of, the transportation, the distancing, where to enter the building, exit the building, the procedures, that'll all be outlined. That'll be distributed to parents prior to summer school. We're working on that right now. We hope to be in a good place by next Monday. Typically, we meet every Monday, and we'll get that information out to the parents.
Thank you. I actually want to commend Linda and Cynthia and Michelle and also Aaron and Brian. You know, we had a curriculum meeting the other day. And I would say, Linda, you did a nice job of summarizing in about 8 minutes what it took us an hour to hash through in our meeting the other day. We peppered you guys with so many questions, and it was obvious that you had prepared. And I was very impressed. Jamie and Carrie and myself were all very impressed at the amount of preparation that has gone into this. Yes, we don't have every single question answered yet. We're still ironing out some of the finer details. But everything we could think of that we were asking you, you had plans set for. So I am very impressed. I don't know if there's any other member of the board that wants to weigh in or ask a question at this point before we move on to our next agenda item.
Thank you, Rich. These guidelines have been in my dreams, so.
Or nightmares. Yes, all the different contingencies and pathways that we're trying to figure out. No, you guys did a very good job, and I'm confident that you'll answer the existing questions that are still there. We'll figure that out as well as we move forward. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up, the facilities related updates. Mr. Cugno, I believe you're next with the next two items.
Good evening, everyone. Jeff Cugno, Director of Business Operations. I just have a couple of updates under facility related. Number one, the town, after there's been a lot of discussion about some ductwork at Berlin High School over the last year or so. And the board might remember that there was a decision made between the town and the board to go out for an additional study on the condition of the ductwork and if there was anything that should be done with the ductwork in its existing condition and some idea on what its future ability is before the Board of Ed adopts and actually accepts the completion of the construction. I'm glad to report that, and it's taken a while, that the town facility department is promised to put out 4 proposals this month in June, a consultant to come in and do that review of the ductwork. I am anticipating, and so is Doug Solik, who's done a lot of work on this, who's our facility director. We're anticipating that it will be out for advertisement within a week or so, and it would hopefully be decided upon. We're trying to get it by the end of the month so we can report on it. So that is moving forward. Glad we waited a while for that, and I think that's going to be great to get that behind us. Exactly how long the study will take, I don't know until we look at the scope. But this is a study, it's not a construction, so I'm assuming it wouldn't be more than a couple of months worth. So certainly I would hope by the end of the summer we would know exactly where we're going with Berlin High School and the ductwork project. Second update is I'm glad to report that even after there was a couple of stutter steps with the capital plan for the town on what they were going to be able to afford and what they were going to be able to move with this year, only because there were so many things on the capital plan, and of course it's difficult to do a budget. They've decided to move forward with a statement of need to upgrade all the HVA systems in our elementary schools. That's something that's been on the list for a while. It's been needed for a while. I think it's going to make a lot of people very, very happy. The statement of need is the first thing that gets done. And the reason I mention that is that the Board of Education has to adopt the statement of need in order for the Public Building Commission, and this will be a Public Building Commission project. So that statement of need has already been started upon. I reviewed it up until Friday. In my estimation, it needs a little more work because this is a statement that not only gets accepted by the Board of Ed, but it's one that also has to be approved at the state of Connecticut level in order for us to get funded. So it needs a little bit more work. I would expect it would be at your meeting next time, but it's good news all the way around. That project, by the way, is been noted at billions of dollars worth of investment in our elementary schools. So it's great for our facilities. That's all I have on facility updates. I can move, if you'd like, Mr. President, to the next item.
Before you do, I just wanted to make sure there were no questions or concerns because the next item is separate and it's actionable. Does anybody have any questions on Jeff for any of the facility related information? No, seeing none. Okay, Jeff, can you tell us about the transportation contract, please?
Okay, the F&O committee certainly knows, and the rest of the board members I'm sure we've had some discussion with having to have a modified contract with New Britain Transportation. Our contract with New Britain Transportation is a 5-year contract. It's got a couple of years left, but in this case, because of the closing of the schools and because of the executive orders that were put in place by the governor's office, we had to do some negotiating with New Britain Transportation. Number one, because of course there were savings because we weren't transporting children. But number two, the executive order was one that said we would like all the districts to support their transportation companies and all the other consultants that we use to go forward. So we had to do a modification of their contract. I'm very pleased that, and Britain Transportation was great to work with. I'm very pleased that we did end up negotiating, even with paying for a good portion of the services. We did negotiate a savings of close to a little over $400,000 on the New Britain contract. Since that's a standing contract, what we have to do is put a formal amendment in front of the board for approval. You have that in your package this evening. I will tell you that it was negotiated naturally with the business office and also the Britain Transportation was very good to document a number of things, the saving, provided us all the information we need. After review, they sent us a letter that they would accept. In talking to the superintendent, since this is a major contract that we have, we also wanted our law firm, Shippen and Goodwin, to take a look at putting together an amendment that we can make sure it fits in well to our contract and serves not only New Britain Transportation, but the Board of Ed. They have done that for us. That's what's in front of you today. And so I would be asking for you to consider a motion to accept that contract, that amendment.
So we have a motion in front of us. We can do a motion, then a second, and then if anybody has questions at that point, but we need the motion first.
Rich, Tim Oakes, board member. I will move that the Board of Education approve and authorize the superintendent of schools to execute the amendment to the transportation contract dated June 8th, 2020.
Thank you, Tim. Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, motion by Tim and second by Julia. Does anybody have any questions or conversations, or Adam, would you like to ask?
Yeah, and Jeff, I apologize because I should have caught this earlier, but just one minor thing. It looks like on page 4, there's two number 6s. 2 sections are numbered is number 6. And the only reason why I call it up is because at the very end, it says the sections 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 shall survive the termination, the expiration of this amendment. I just want to make sure that I know it's been reviewed by everybody, and I don't think it's going to change too much of the intent. But I just want to call that out. I'm not sure if that needs to be renumbered.
I will, before this gets signed, I will address that. I'm sorry it didn't get caught. This has been reviewed by a number of people. So good job, Adam. Thank you very much. I will renumber these, make sure it stays in place. I don't think it will.
It shouldn't. Yeah, it shouldn't change the intent of the contract.
Yep.
Thank you.
Right. Any other comments, questions for Jeff? Okay. Hearing nothing, we're going to vote on the motion. All those in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? Passes 8-0. Thank you, Jeff, for your work with New Britain Transit. I believe you're also up on the next one, Security Vestibule Project closeout.
Yes, the Security Vestibule Project, which is part of our security program. Actually, we have a number of things now, but when we first started, the Security Vestibules was one of the first. About 2 years ago, we started the project. It was about a $200,000 project that was funded by the state. It's vestibules for 4 of our schools. Some of you, I'm sure, have been, if not all of you, have been in the schools lately, and the front doors to the school have changed quite a bit. There was a lot of time in design and a lot of time in construction put into these 4 vestibules. They are completed now. I will tell you that they've, first of all, Doug Solik and his crew did a great job in making sure these things went forward on what could reasonably a timely basis, given what the work was. I know the principals were very patient in getting vestibules done that actually are very nice, but actually are not bothering their administration of the front door anymore, I hope. the vestibule approvals have to be signed off on by the Board of Education. We got a letter from Fryer Associates, who is the architect of record, which is the way this is done. They have signed off in a formal letter to Doug Solek, which he has passed on to us, which I believe you have in your packet, that says everything has been done. Doug is very pleased. I did have the pleasure of checking with the principals to make sure that they didn't have any outstanding issues, and so I'm recommending that all you have to do for this portion is accept the completion of the actual security, and then there will be a number of state submittals that have to be done in order for them to approve the project. But the first motion is for you to accept the project.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cugno. And we do have a motion for consideration, please.
Rich, again, Tim Oakes, board member. I will move to close the security vestibules project and authorize the filing of the final electronic submission with the state.
Second.
I'll second it, Adam.
There we go. Thank you. Mr. Salinas seconds it.
Thank you.
Any conversations, questions? Yes, Adam.
I'm sorry, a quick question, Jeff. I think I heard you say, but I just want to confirm. You said that all the building administrators, the principals are happy with how things are working with the vestibules?
I spoke to them all the end of the week, just to make sure.
Yep.
They said they're certainly okay with them. They seem to be pleased, and I know that they've been very patient on having those be completed. But yeah, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just hearing from the professionals that designed it and constructed it. I was hearing from the people that have to live with it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I could see the head nod when you were saying. I'm glad that it's worked out very well. Any other questions or comments? No? In that case, we have a motion. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
Opposed? It is unanimous. 8-0, it passes. Thank you. Last thing on our new business is the Berlin Visiting Nurses Association service agreement with the board that will begin July 1st and go through June 30th, 2020. It's something we have to do every year. And there's a motion for consideration.
Carrie Sassu. I move to approve the agreement between the Berlin Board of Education and the Berlin Visiting Nurse Association for 2020-2021.
Anybody second?
I second.
Oh, Julia beat you. So motion by Carrie, second by Julia. Any questions, conversations, clarifications, anything? No? All right. Then hearing none. All those in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? It is unanimous. So it passes. Now, next up is technically the adjournment, but I believe, Brian, that we have an executive session. Am I not mistaken?
That is correct. I sent you a link to that. It's all set up.
All right, let me.
I just sent it probably an hour ago, so.
I think we'll just need to add it to the agenda first.
Yes, so we need a motion to add an executive session to the agenda. All members of the Board of Ed and inviting Brian. Are we inviting anybody else?
That would be it at this time.
Just invite the superintendent.
What is the purpose of the executive session? Rich?
Brian, can you summarize? I'm having a hard time finding it in my.
The purpose would be the unaffiliated contracts.
Okay.
So personnel not covered by collective bargaining.
All right. So to start, I move to add an agenda item prior to adjournment to discuss a personnel matter concerning unaffiliated contracts.
I'll second that.
There you go. Adam seconds it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We are going to now move into executive session and invite Brian. Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I know. Go ahead, Tim.
I move to go into executive session to discuss a personnel matter, inviting the superintendent.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We're going to move into executive session now. I want to thank everybody. We will not be returning to the meeting afterwards, but I want to thank everybody for your participation tonight. Everybody log off and I will send a new link immediately that gets everybody in.
Do you want to use my link or are you going to use your link, Rich?
Oh, yeah. Well, we could use, you mean the faulty one that everybody
No,
found a few minutes ago?
I sent my own personal link that I did. Not IT.
All right. Let me see.
Take care.
Yeah, we'll use Brian's if I can find it. Is it in an email?